From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Friday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, Montana state health officials report a daunting number of COVID-19 related deaths and new positive cases today. The state reports 27 more victims and more than 1,000 new confirmed cases. MTN, which reported some of those deaths yesterday, reports 21 more victims today, bringing the statewide death toll to 382. 12 of those victims are from Roosevelt County, 4 in Yellowstone, 2 in each Daniels and Carter counties, and the latest 1 in Missoula County. Well, today, for the first time, Montana reported more than 1,000 new confirmed cases in one day. There are now more than 32,000 total cases across the state, and more than 22,000 people have recovered. Along with deaths yesterday, COVID-19 cases are rising in the Mission Valley, with Lake County seeing its highest number of active cases since the pandemic began. The Lake County Health Services Director says county COVID-19 testing has increased, with test result times varying from 24 hours to 4 to 5 days. She adds a high number of confirmed positive cases are coming out of the Polson area, where community spread is untraceable. She urges residents to avoid large social gatherings and to stay home if you're sick. Well, daily coronavirus cases in the U.S. reached a new high yesterday, with more than 87,000 reported and more than 1,000 deaths nationwide. As Chicago sees surging cases, the Illinois governor has now banned indoor eating and drinking. Well, Montana voters mailing in and dropping off their election ballots in droves across the state. The latest count just before noon today. 471,519 ballots. That's more than 72% of the ballots mailed out across the state. And now, just days away from the November 3rd contest, the contest for Montana's top law enforcement officer wraps up with impressive fundraising numbers. The latest round for the Attorney General's race show both Republican Austin Knudsen and Democrat Rafe Graybill have raised more campaign dollars than any prior Attorney General candidates in Montana. As of October 14th, Knudsen raised a total of $402,000 for his campaign, around $31,000 of which came from PACs. He also loaned his campaign $3,500 and spent another $5,000 of his own money. The rest came from individuals. Now, Knudsen says he's pleased with the support so far.
We've gotten great cross-Montana support, and I think that's indicative of where Montanans are at with this race.
And you thought that was a lot? Listen to this. Democrat Rafe Graybill has raised just over $700,000 as of October 14th. Around $25,000 of that comes from PACs, while the rest is from individuals. Now, he's spent around $2,200 of his own money on the race as well. Graybill says he's proud to have grassroots efforts from all political parties that have contributed to this record fundraising.
Our campaign has raised twice the record in Montana for an Attorney General's race, and that's entirely a reflection of how real individual donors support our race.
Graybill will be in Great Falls today. Well, one of the family members accused of torturing and killing a 12-year-old West Yellowstone boy back in February admits he did it. 15-year-old James Sasser III pleaded guilty yesterday for his role in the death of his nephew, James Hurley. In return, the judge will not charge him as an adult. The judge ordered Sasser to stay in juvenile detention until he is 18 years old, remain on probation until he is 21, and undergo mental health counseling. His parents, Patricia Batts and James Sasser Jr., are charged with felony deliberate homicide. His sister, 18-year-old Madison Sasser, is also charged in the case. Well, controversy is brewing around a group of nearly 100 hunters after they allegedly surrounded a herd of elk and fired into it at random, killing 50 of the animals. Now, that incident happened last week near White Sulphur Springs and actually isn't illegal, though wildlife officials say the hunt was grossly unethical and unsafe. 6 hunters were cited for violations during the incident, but for issues like shooting from the road and using a license from another district. After the incident, rumors surfaced online that up to 40 of the animals went unclaimed, but that is not true. Just one elk was left to waste, and 2 others were confiscated by Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. Well, FWP officials are encouraging hunters in northwest Montana to submit samples of harvested deer, elk, and moose to test for chronic wasting disease. Biologists have established sampling stations in 7 areas, including Kalispell, Libby, and Eureka. Chronic wasting disease is a progressive fatal neurological disease that infects deer, elk, and moose. FWP spokesman Dylan Tabish says positive tests for chronic wasting disease in northwest Montana have so far only been found in the Libby area. He adds that Fish, Wildlife, and Parks officials are collecting data to better understand where chronic wasting disease is prevalent while coming up with management strategies. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks officials are encouraged by the number of samples submitted during opening weekend of general deer and elk season. Well, Walmart is temporarily removing guns and ammunition from its store displays out of concern for civil unrest. Walmart has done this in the past for similar reasons. It says the move is a precaution for the safety of employees and customers. It comes after several days of protests in Philadelphia over the deadly police shooting of a black man and high tension leading up to Election Day. Guns and ammunition will still be for sale. Well, the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation released some stats about this year's fire season across the state. There were nearly 2,300 wildfires that blazed more than 411,000 acres and cost Montana $13 million. A concerning number, 79% of wildfires in the state were caused by humans. The Department of Natural Resources and Conservation says that's well above the 10-year average of 60%. Up next on your noon news, an MSU grad is hitting high notes with her fans. It's a song that's adding a little country, pop, and folk to the music scene. But first, meteorologist Ed McIntosh is in next with your statewide weather forecast.